I am Travis Wayne Goodsell, out of retirement just for conference, right, God? I was watching the best Christmas movie series ever, Die Hard, and watched Nelson's video when it came on. For those of you who watched the previous video I did this morning, coming out of retirement, did you pay attention? Did you learn from me? Do you see what the church is doing to you? My videos all these years, over 3.1K, which I'm wanting to retire now, were to warn you of this danger of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. The day that shall burn as an oven did not happen for the harvest gathering. They've delayed it. Government didn't shut down. Hollywood is back up and open for business again. We should expect to see movies and TV shows again flood the airwaves. And late night comedy has already begun. And I saw that Bill Maher had talked with Governor DeSantis for his reopening day. And they had discussed DeSantis's judgment that he signed into law in Florida regarding abortion at 3 weeks, was it? And he passed the buck off to the legislature, that it was them, and it was all based on science, because that's when the heart can be readily be heard. Did you pay attention to this morning's video? You had to watch near the end, because I think that's when I talked about it. People who love America want America to succeed and not be taken over by enemies, either foreign or domestic, would want the Constitution to be adhered to and not violated and overthrown. Abortion is such a threat to our government. The banning of it, that is. The overthrow of Roe v. Wade. Amendment 14, Section 1. Where do fetuses fit in that? They don't. But there's the mother. And so a fetus in the Constitution, which every single American patriot must be loyal to, says that women get to choose. They are not to have their agency taken from them, regardless of exemption clauses. Abortion clinics are not to be closed down. Doctors are not supposed to be locked up. Women who get an abortion are not supposed to be locked up. This is a coup. And it's in real time. So did you also pay attention? If this morning's video was your first video of mine, or more especially those of you who have been following me for at least a little while, if not longer, catch on to Nelson. What section was he quoting from? You don't know your scriptures that well? Section 132. Remember what I said in this morning's video that I was told to give you in my dream? That I had to come out of retirement for. Section 132 is a forged document of Brigham Young. Joseph Smith did not preach that doctrine, nor did he ever have it in secret. Joseph Smith's doctrine, which is repeated 5 times in the Book of Mormon, and then he had a whole chapter that he put in the 1835 edition of the Doctrine and Covenants. And then he later gave section 131, which did not get put in by Brigham Young until he decided to put in section 132 the year before he died. Section 131, well, the chapter on monogamy, Book of Mormon, anti-polygamy. Section 131. Joseph Smith, in the Joseph Smith papers, so we know it's a legitimate section, unlike section 132. Joseph Smith is talking to a monogamous couple. It says that if you get sealed in the temple, there's no forced payment of tithing. That was not Joseph's doctrine. Section 64 was on tithing. Section 119 is a forged document of Brigham Young. He told them that if they got sealed in the temple, that they would be exalted in the highest degree of the celestial kingdom. So why did Brigham Young not include that in section 131? Because section 132 is on polygamy. Can't have Joseph Smith screwing this up. After all, he is the founder. Got to replace him. He's wrong. We have to change things. We have to alter and edit and correct. Because he's wrong. And so what did Nelson do? He told you, you get to choose who to be married to. Do you know that there are qualifications that he would then go on to give? You don't get to choose. There's strict requirements. But then he goes on and he does addictions first. I was literally going, do it, say it, yes, he said it. So there's 2 things on this, Natasha Helfer and Nexium, the sex cult that snagged one of the Smallville women. I believe it was Smallville, wasn't it? It was one of the women that were in one of the Superman TV shows who was acting like Giselle Maxwell for the child rapist guy who died in jail, which is under suspicious circumstances now after an investigation. But it was all about giving clarity to their followers. They purposely misinformed them, miseducated them. And this is what I keep warning you in my videos. You have to start with truth. If you start with the seed of falsehood, the only thing that's going to grow from it is more falsehood. And it gets more and more absurd the further you go out on the branches. You have to start with truth. You know, I had people over the years, and even just this morning when I checked, who think that they know better than me on Mormonism, who refer to the white horse prophecy and some guy who wrote a book saying that Joseph Smith will be reincarnated in the latter days, and that therefore I'm wrong. They don't have authority, guys. You can't trust them. Nelson and all the prophets back to Brigham Young don't have authority. They are giving you lies from their core lie, claiming that Joseph Smith was Christian, that the Book of Mormon is another testament of Jesus. That's a lie. You can read the Book of Mormon for yourself. 1 Nephi chapter 1 verse 2. Learning of the Jews. The learning of the Jews means religion of the Jews. It means the rituals of the Jews. It means the doctrine of the Jews. It means the scriptures of the Jews. It means the Christ of the Jews. And Joseph Smith goes on in his second vision to confirm that for you. But our printed versions also got tampered with by Brigham Young. And so with Nexium, they use psychological triggers, repeating things over and over again. And this concept of clarity was involved with that. One of my favorite movies is The Time Machine from 1960. In that movie, the time traveler makes it to the World Wars. And he finds the son of his best friend. And a siren goes off. It's a nuclear siren, warning people to go underground for protection from the nuclear blast that's coming. And he says, wait for the all clear. He then goes further into the future and meets the Eloi. And then one day, the Eloi hear the nuclear siren. And they all march as zombies to the entrance to the underground where the Morlock is waiting to herd them as cattle to eat them alive. One of the men going towards the entrance told the time traveler, it's all clear. The Morlocks had turned the signal of danger into the signal of all is well in Zion. Natasha Helfer. In 2021, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints fired and excommunicated her. She's a psychologist. The church only deals with psychology now. They want nothing to do with science. Not even the medical profession, of which Nelson was. The BYUs, and likewise Utah's school systems, and Utah's governments, and Utah's businesses, and especially the church, have all been taken over by psychological manipulation. The women who are protecting President Ballard against Tim Ballard are claiming spiritual manipulation. What the church is doing is spiritual manipulation. Why aren't those women suing the church? Why are they going after Tim Ballard, who simply said that M. Russell Ballard did support his organization? This is what sex cults do to people. They turn them into weapons against others. And they don't see the beam and mote violations that they commit. They don't see the crimes they commit to protect and defend the religion. Natasha Helfer, for some weird reason, instead of adhering to psychology so that she can keep her clients and be paid for them, was instead using actual medical science, for which the church fired and excommunicated her for. She said that masturbation is healthy, doesn't cause blindness, and pornography is not addictive. Well, the living prophet of Jesus just said it was, so she's wrong. That comes from the medical profession, of which Nelson was a part of. See, in the temple, which Nelson had all this lead to, Lucifer tells Adam and Eve, after they partake of the fruit, of the forbidden fruit of the tree of knowledge of good and evil, he tells them they're naked, and that Father will see their nakedness. Quick, hide, cover yourself up with fig leaves. He told them to be ashamed of their bodies. And so throughout the school systems, sex education is not correctly taught to Utah children, nor by their parents, nor by the government, nor by the church. Every single Utahn is taught wrong about our human bodies. And that causes lots of problems. Growing up as a kid, I was told not to get a girlfriend because girlfriend makes you soft when you're playing sports. I had no idea what they were talking about. After all, I was born and raised in the Covenant Mormon, not given proper sex ed. Even in Southern California, there was slideshow presentations of dissected cartoon penis. I don't want to see that. And so I had no idea what my peers were talking about. Much of the stuff they were talking about I didn't know. I didn't have older brothers to tell me. I was the older brother. And so it had to be over time when I finally caught on. Oh, that's what that means. And it's because that when a man goes without sex, abstinence only, he starts to get a little uneasy with himself. He starts experiencing feelings that he's not comfortable with. And it eventually escalates the further he abstains until he starts to get physically aggressive. This is why my peers were saying not to have a girlfriend. They make you soft. I, however, learned that's not the case. You can be a professional athlete with a girlfriend. You just have to be good. It takes practice. And so what they were wanting was a type of military aggression, a white supremacist gang aggression. This is why white supremacists force their men to abstain from masturbation. And if they need sex, that they should rape a woman. And so Nelson then goes into the law of chastity. In case you didn't know, Nelson changed the law of chastity in 2019. He's bringing back polygamy. That's what he means. But actually, he talked about tithing first, didn't he? Tithing, then pornography. I'm getting this out of order. So section 132, tithing, pornography, law of chastity, and temple. And so I thought it was weird and scary that yesterday, the two talks that I briefly listened in on to see how things were going, I heard the word clarity used. And then Cook, again, brought it up again this morning. And then they had the song, Come Ye Children of the Lord. Have you read the text? Did you listen to the song lyrics? See, I was given To the Strength of the Noble Youth by Benson in his Solemn Assembly, which was quoting from The Miracle of Forgiveness of President Spencer W. Kimball, which was a quote from President Packer as a regular elder. They had canonized his words. And in there, pregnancy is a pernicious evil. But yes, pornography was condemned. but then would go on to quote from Article of Faith number 13. If there is anything lovely, of good report, or praiseworthy, we seek after these things. As the foremost anthropologist in the ancient Middle East, I immerse myself in pornography on a regular daily basis. I was reviewing the Roman deities yesterday. And so I came across the Roman deity Lucifer. Yeah, Roman deity, not Christian. Go figure. And the Roman deity Sol, the sun god. But yes, a lot of the art of sculpture, paintings, were all inspired by the goddesses and gods. It wasn't until evangelicals, at the turn of the 1900s, that pornography took on this sexual connotation. And yes, you can go back to the Greeks with the temple workers, but they didn't have such a view that current religion of Christianity does, and thus the church. It was a temple profession for the Greeks and the Romans. But with the temples gone, thanks to Christianity, what do women do? It then becomes a profession. And here in America, they became brothels. You do know Brigham Young had brothels in this valley, didn't you? You're not naive to believe that no, he would never do such a thing. He knows the nature of a man. After all, he practiced polygamy and framed Joseph for it. And still it wasn't good enough. But yeah, a lot of his wives were divorcing him, and he needed comfort in a woman he was not married to. And so the payment of tithing makes polygamy even worse of a crime. Notice how the church was okay with decriminalizing polygamy here in Utah? Oh, it was all about that TV show family. Had nothing to do with Nelson's plan to restore polygamy. Not at all. You're not that naive, are you? Paying for sex. Paying for criminal sex, polygamy. Paying to traffic for sex. These are all serious crimes. Remember Jeffrey Epstein? Remember Nexium? Tithing is not a donation. It literally is an extortion threat. I've been doing the videos, guys. This is not from Jesus. Jesus doesn't exist. He replaced the Jews. When Isaiah says, "Come buy without money and without price," he's referring to the temples. And yet, the money changers are all a part of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, whom Jesus, in that learning of the Jews books, whipped the money changers for being money changers at the temple. Tithing is not for priestcraft, as section 119 says it is. Tithing is not to commit crimes and claim religious freedom exemption from following the law, which is what the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is pushing on our government to overthrow it. The use of tithing is what got the Church of Brigham Young shut down by the United States of America. It wasn't polygamy, it was tithing from the Perpetual Immigration Fund that funded sex trafficking of little girls as well as women. That's what the church was shut down for. But they kept it a secret from the members, kept accusing the United States of being evil, denying religious freedom, until Heber J. Grant reincorporated the church in 1923. And didn't remove section 132, but took out John Taylor's added revelations on polygamy. Because the United States said, no, it's a criminal organization. You can claim Joseph Smith, he's long dead. That's how Brigham Young got away with all this, setting up and framing Joseph Smith. Because he can just say, it's not me, it's our founder. We're just following our founder. Our religion it was all a fraud. And so the law of chastity, as they keep telling you, you got to listen to these guys. You can't just coast by thinking all is well in Zion, that they're doing what Jesus is telling them to do, and that if you're just a casual Mormon, everything will be well with you, and you'll be rescued and saved from the day that you'll burn as an oven. Membership is no guarantee of safety. They've even told you so. They keep forcing you to commit crime, to go on missions, to commit the pyramid scheme, which is exactly what NXIVM was a part of for their money operation. See, they didn't use tithing extortion threats, pay us or die. For NXIVM, it was a pyramid scheme. They recruited people who paid the money. That's what missionaries do. That's what the missionaries of Brigham Young did. They recruited women to be part of polygamy, sex trafficking. And so finally he ends with the temple, where sealings occur, where those laws are that you need to keep silent about, or you're going to have to die. Oh, but they took that out, Travis. We no longer covenant to die, right? I still remember. I only went through once, but it was so shocking and horrifying that I never forgot. Because it changed while on my mission. My last year, finishing up, 91. Came home in May that year. But I still remember. Bring your right arm to the square, the fingers close together, the palm forward and the thumb extended. And place it at your throat by the jugular. and go across. That was the penalty for violating the temple oaths, covenants, revealing the names, signs, and tokens. Everything in the temple is supposed to be kept a secret from the world so that the world doesn't know that the Church of Jesus Christ is going to overthrow it in the latter days, that the church is committing crimes. And they want Mormons to protect the church from prosecution. I did the video not too long ago before my retirement going over them. And then I cut it out of the video and made it a separate video all by itself. Because I knew the majority of you wouldn't watch to the end. So the temples are for the overthrow of the government, not just for the secrets to overthrow the government. Because Nelson, in declaring the new places, which I heard a couple of Perus and Samoa, the church now owns the land so that they can build a temple on it. It is now church property. And what's all about the day that shall burn as an oven? Yeah, the whole world and world governments destroyed. And so, in the aftermath, who has power? The one who controls the land. That's who has the power. The church has the receipts. They own the land. The government no longer owns the land. They're destroyed. This is what you miss when you think the church is true. When you think Jesus is all a part of this, that he's given the orders, that Jesus is going to burn everybody to death, that Jesus will restore his kingdom and overthrow the governments. You know, I don't blame him. If I had Jesus' supernatural powers, I too would want to burn the wicked. It's one of the philosophical debates against Christianity, is if God is all loving, why does he allow evil to exist? And then Christians fail by using fallacy after fallacy, trying to prove that Christianity is true. And I hear it over the pulpits of conference. They're all wrong. But, yeah. This is the plot of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. All these years I've been telling you about it, warning you about it, revealing it to you, that the church overthrew Roe v. Wade. They were directly involved with the Council for National Policy. They overthrew the 2016 election. I think Bill Maher may have covered that. He often does. He tried to get DeSantis to confess that Trump lost the election in 2020, but Trump was put in by Russia in 2016. I knew exactly how. Through Facebook was one of the avenues. The church was another avenue. But Steve Bannon and the church are both involved with the Council for National Policy. It's the core secret combination in America. And so, yes, the judges, the Supreme Court justices, who overthrew Roe v. Wade, another member of that council hooked them up with the billionaires. This counselor, or this council, not only has evangelicals, other rogue people who want to overthrow America, like Steve Bannon, and the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, but it has medical doctors and psychologists and business people and people who are involved in organizations for their policies to overthrow the United States of America. It was the Southern Poverty Law Center who revealed that to the world, that this group is a threat to national security. And yeah, our Department of Justice refuses to do anything about it. All the tips, all the documents, all the receipts, all the historical information I gave the Department of Justice, the DOJ, Homeland Security, the President, and others, all were ignored. Our government has been couped, and now they're just torturing us, little by little. But if you want to be triggered and cause it, they welcome it. This evil enemy goes back 200 years. Brigham Young and Heber C. Kimball were just one of the branch-offs from it. That's the part of the real church history that I've been going over with you all this time. So, I guess this is my summation for conference, and hopefully my final video so I can go back into retirement. But it is sad to see Mormons act like zombies, misquoting scripture back to me, telling me the obvious, thinking they know better than I do, calling me the other, attacking and abusing me. And you don't catch on to conference when they tell you you're not supposed to do that. It's because they do want you to do that, just not for the church leaders. They're okay with you doing that to those who are against the church. That's what they won't tell you. And so for you, you don't see it as a crime. All because you got fooled into thinking Joseph Smith and the Book of Mormon are Christian. And so I hope my dream and this follow-up to the dream helps you out, because the threat is still present. It's still imminent. You have to pay attention to the news. You have to pay attention to the church news. Be aware of what's going on around the world if you want to save yourself and your families. And it's sad because Mormons reject me. They don't claim that I have authority. They don't see what's blatantly obvious right in front of them. Because if they knew, I still don't think they'd weep. I think they're too hard-hearted. So, alrighty, back to Die Hard. Yippee-ki-yay.